and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, for a full Barça news roundup. We've got plenty to discuss in today's video, from the summer transfer window to come. Lots of rumours already swirling around regarding player sales, and we're also going to be hearing from Deco, and we're going to be looking for any insights that we can get when it comes to the next coach of Barça, with quotes today on Jurgen Klopp, on Thiago Motta, and also Hansi Flick discussed today. It is all coming up for you. I hope you guys are doing well. So let's do this. Because let's first of all, though, start with an update from the league that shall not be named. Because last night in that said league, Real Madrid dropped points against their big rivals Atleti. And I'm sure that late goal would have upset many people, but the final score was indeed 1-1 at the Santiago Bernabeu. And what that effectively means now is that this is the table in the league. And Real Madrid, they're still top of the league, make no mistake about that. They are currently 8 points ahead of Barça. But what I want to say here is, are we slipping back into the conversation? Because what I find really interesting here is that we've actually made up a number of points there recently, still without being all that convincing, without playing all that well. We managed to get ourselves back in it a bit. So you just wonder here, if we're able to hit another gear, if we're able to find another level, what sort of steps could we make there towards the top of the league? And I think it's interesting because Real Madrid's next game is against Girona. That's going to be one to watch there, and one of those, if not both of them, could drop points. So what Barça have to make sure we're doing every single match day here, in the 15 games left of this season, just make sure you're there. Make sure that you're putting in the results, that you're doing the hard work, that you're making sure we do our job, and we'll just see what happens. Barça are apparently inside of the club. They're taking it day by day. They're not talking about the title. They're not really focusing on winning the league as such, but they want to be competitive. They want to make sure that we stay in the race somehow, and we just have to find a way to stay alive. But if we do indeed move on to those big quotes here from Deco coming out today, I think it's really interesting when you hear actually from Deco regarding the planning of this club. Of course, we're all looking very intently at the future. What can we expect? What does the future hold for Barça? And I thought it was interesting, starting first of all about the players, about the potential overhaul this summer. We've heard big rumours in the media that even the likes of Frankie de Jong, Ronald Araujo, could they be up for sale this summer? Could we actually look maybe to cash in on those players in order to generate funds? But Deco today has played down those rumours. He said rumours about selling Frankie and Araujo, the ideal scenario for us is not to sell anybody and incorporate 2 or 3 players this summer. But he did say if we're forced to sell, then we will aim to do so without touching the hearts of the team. So the question there is, who are the hearts of the team? Who is the core of this team that is untouchable right now? Because I still believe, guys, personally, looking at the summer, if Barça do want to overhaul the squad, if they do want to bring in new players for the new coach of the club, I think we will need one big exit, maybe even 2. And I don't know exactly who that would be at this stage. I think that's going to depend on the offers that we receive. It's also going to depend, of course, on the will of the players that are here. Are people open to leaving the club? We've seen before that is not easy, but it's interesting today that you hear, for instance, that Tottenham are very interested in Rafinha ahead of the summer. That's a potential player there that clubs in the Premier League, we know, will be taking a look at. He's somebody there who may be able to generate a significant amount of funds. But of course, don't forget that Deco was the man who was very key in bringing Rafinha in to this club. And Rafinha has always maintained that he wants to stay. And I'm just wondering, guys, at this point, what sort of big names within Barça would you be open to selling? Or maybe would you be open to listening to offers? Just seeing basically what's out there. How much are people willing to pay for them? Just to ask the question in your mind. Let me know down below any of those big names that you're thinking about ahead of the summer. But of course, right now, guys, there is plenty of focus on the potential new Barça coach this summer. Who is that going to be? Have we got any idea at this point, maybe, who Barça are leaning towards. And I think it's really key here to listen to Deco's words, because I think he holds at Barca huge power, huge influence at the club. And that was made very, very clear just a few days ago when Joan Laporta said the new coach will be decided by Deco. He is the man that we have placed our trust in to pick the new coach of Barca, and he ultimately said it's firmly in his hands. Laporta passing over that responsibility there to Deco. And I think that's a huge, huge decision right there, and I think that is huge pressure on Deco's shoulders right now, because let's not forget as well, he's relatively new in the job that he's been given at this club. In this position, he's sort of learning as he goes along. It's still sort of new territory in many ways for him, and this coaching decision, it's massive at Barca. This is a colossal choice with regards to our future at the club, and maybe that's why then today, Deco actually came out and said, it won't only be me, by the way. It's not only going to be me picking the new coach. He said the club is going to choose as a whole. He said here, the decisions are not only made by one person. So I think their Deco was very, very quick to clarify, okay, Joan might have said that. He does say some things in the media sometimes, but it's not just going to be about me. This is going to be a group decision. It has to be that way. We have to all come together here. We have to all plan as one to make the right call. I did also think then that it was very interesting that Deco openly came out and said again, you know, I did not expect Xavi's announcement to leave the club. I did not see it coming. He said, I'm in daily contact with Xavi, and we've been planning the January transfer window and beyond for weeks now. He said there is always speculation, but I never thought about him leaving. We were already talking about the next season to come. So Deco there saying he's very much in shock by Xavi's decision to leave the club. We're not expecting it to happen. And then Deco did start to be asked about specific coaches, about specific names that we've heard in the media. What about Jurgen Klopp? What do you make of him? What do you think of him as the new Barca coach? And Deco replied there, he is a great coach. He's an excellent coach there. But he said now is not really the time to talk about that. He said there are many different options as the Barca coach. And it has been reported plenty of times over the past few days that Laporta and Deco, they're going to do everything in their power to convince Klopp to change his mind about taking a break from football, to convince him here to take the Barca job now, this summer. But do you believe that's possible, guys? Do you believe that we could convince Jurgen Klopp to change his mind? Because in my mind, it's a mountain to climb in order to actually do that. Because I feel as though right now, Klopp has got it in his mind to leave Liverpool. That was a massive decision for him. That was a big decision that he's made because he needs a break, because he wants a break, because he absolutely has to have that. And I just don't feel like anything could change his mind right now. I think it's about him, it's about his family, and of course nothing is going to come in between that. So I think Barca's certainly on that. It's an uphill task. But what about then some of the more lower profile names that have been linked to the club? Maybe not the biggest names of all, but what about Thiago Motta? What about Rafa Marquez when it comes to the Barca job? Both of those have been linked to the role. But I thought it was interesting that Deco said, I haven't followed Motta's work on a regular basis there in Serie A at Bologna. He said, but I do follow Marquez because he's already working here at the club. He said on Marquez, he's a young coach, but he's growing, he's improving a lot, and he will develop very well here. So from that quote, I would say actually, Motta can be completely ruled out. You know, if Deco is already saying there, I'm not really aware of what he's doing, I haven't followed his work there in much detail at all, I don't really think you can be considering him then at this stage. And even there on Marquez, I think Deco and everybody at the club is very complimentary towards him. I think they really value the work that he's done at Barca Athletic, but I think there's a real will there to keep him in that position. They want his work to continue at that level, and I still don't believe that Marquez is among the front runners for the Barca job, which is ultimately when, once again, we have to talk about Hansi Flick. And this is really interesting because this morning, guys, once again, Christian Falk, who is the head of football at Sport Bild in Germany, he's been doing a lot of talking recently about Hansi Flick and Barcelona, and it's very possible there that this man here could have some sort of connection to Flick there, either directly or maybe some sort of connection with Flick's entourage. But he's coming out with a lot of interesting reports when it comes to Hansi Flick, and he says this morning that Flick is already in the process of learning Spanish. He is currently doing that now. He has been for some time maybe. And the job of Barça, he says, would appeal to Flick, that he would certainly be happy to take it on. It's a challenge that he would enjoy. And I think this is particularly important because of what we've heard since Xavi announced his departure, when it was actually said in the media there that Joan Laporta would like the new coach of Barça to be able to speak Spanish, that Laporta would be very, very hesitant there to be looking at coaches maybe that were completely unable to speak the language at all. Laporta apparently would feel as though that would provide different obstacles, that it would make things inside of the club even more complicated. So in Laporta's mind, he would like that new coach to be able to speak Spanish. And now you hear it today that Flick is in that process, that he's already underway on that journey, and that the Barca job would appeal to him. But what do you think at this stage, guys? That is the big question that we have right now. It is early on. We've got several months, of course, until Xavi is going to be departing the club. But like I say, things in the background, they're already going on. You know, there will be discussions taking place. There will be lots of meeting and reviews of different coaches and their body of work. And who do you think at this stage is the front runner? Who do you believe is in Barca's mind right now as that potential coach to take over in the summer? Do let me know in the comments down below, because we're hearing lots of names. We talked about all of them so far on the channel, but do let me know your thoughts there, guys. And of course, like I say, on the potential overhaul that we could see in the summer too. So let me know all that down below. I will see you soon, of course, where there will be lots more videos to come. You can definitely count on that. And I really do appreciate, guys, all of your great support, especially recently. We're rising up against the people in charge of the league. Thank you indeed for all of that. I will catch you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.